Okay, we're still doing chapter 4. This is part 2, learning objective 2. Understand the need to prove the elements of a cause of action and the available remedies. Okay, so what is a cause of action? It's a wrong that is legally recognized as a basis for compensating one for the harm suffered. So we're talking civil, not criminal, and torts, contracts, negligence, all of those are causes of action. Some elements, the components of a legal claim that must be established by the burden of proof, usually a preponderance of the evidence. So you'll hear different things. The preponderance of the evidence as opposed to in a criminal court that's beyond reasonable doubt. In football terms, in a criminal case, you have to make a touchdown. You have to go all the way to the 100-yard line. In a civil trial, you only have to do preponderance of the evidence, which means the 51-yard line. So it's much easier. What are remedies? The means by which a right is enforced or the violation of a right is prevented, or redressed or compensated. Black's Law Dictionary, that's like a Bible for lawyers. What kind of remedies? Most one you probably heard of is monetary remedies. That's when you assign a financial value to the harm suffered by the plaintiff in the form of damages. They get some money. Equitable remedies are used when no amount of monetary damages can make the injured party whole. This would be like for a contract for an antique. It's a 2,000-year-old antique. There's no other, money won't replace not getting that, or if that's damaged. The only thing that will is getting that antique. So that's sort of like the difference between monetary, equitable remedies, often in contracts where you have to perform the contract. Learning objective 3, describe the elements necessary to establish jurisdiction and venue for a particular court. So this is huge. We covered it in other classes, but it's kind of boring, so it's easy to forget. Jurisdiction is the authority of a court to hear disputes and to impose resolution of the dispute upon the litigants. The court must have authority over the persons that appear before it and the subject matter of the litigation. If it's a small claims, you have to go to small claims court. If it's a family matter, you have to go to family court. That's what they mean by before it and the subject matter of the litigation. So, one important element is standing, and that is the right of the plaintiff to bring lawsuit where the plaintiff has a stake or interest in the outcome of the case. So it couldn't just be like a bystander or a third party. It has to be somebody who has a stake or interest in the outcome of the case. So like your mother couldn't bring it on your behalf, unless you were under 18. Subject matter jurisdiction is the authority of a court to hear and decide a particular type of dispute. Now, their limited jurisdiction, that's what we're talking about when I said small claims court, family court, bankruptcy courts. Those are courts that are authorized to hear specific disputes. Now, a general jurisdiction court is a court that can hear all types of matters, so as long as the dispute does not fall within the limited jurisdiction of a particular court. So if it doesn't fall into the limited jurisdiction, then it goes to the general court. Personal jurisdiction, also known as in personam, is the authority of a court over persons as well as the subject matter of a lawsuit. In rem jurisdiction is the authority of a court to hear a case because the property that is the subject matter of the lawsuit lies within its geographic boundaries. So, for personal jurisdiction, it's a state court. What happens when someone doesn't live in the state? Does that court have authority over the person? Well, that can depend on some actions that they took. In REM jurisdiction, the actual physical property, maybe it's real estate or boat, that's being sued over, that's in REM. REM is thing. So we have in personam, the person, in REM, the thing. Obtaining personal jurisdiction. So we have these things called long-arm statutes. And these are laws enacted by a state legislature to extend jurisdiction over parties who reside in other states, but have utilized some state service or facility that subjects the parties to the jurisdiction of that state. Okay, a big one is, you're in business in Colorado. You don't ever go to Louisiana, but you sell somebody in Louisiana a product. Well, and then that product turns out to be defective. The long-arm statute would say, hey, even though you've never been to this state, we have jurisdiction, in personam jurisdiction over you because you sold a defective product to somebody in the state. Another method is minimum contacts. It's sort of like, what sort of contacts does the non-resident have in the jurisdiction? Are they there frequently? Do they own property? Do they have some sort of contact with the state? Venue is the process of determining in which court to file a lawsuit when more than one court has subject matter and personal jurisdiction. In that example with Colorado and Louisiana, a venue could have been Colorado or Louisiana. Concurrent jurisdiction usually means where cases where the federal and state courts both have subject matter and personal jurisdiction over the matter. Cases where federal questions or diversity arise with state claims. So in order for something to be to the federal court their jurisdiction, there has, the diversity of the people who are part of the lawsuit. One party lives in one state, the other party lives in a different state, but they might be suing over a state issue. Okay, we'll pick this one up in a second.